up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of ChutingStar Skydiving Therapy. What's up, guys? Welcome back. Happy Friday. So if you've been away from a sport for a while and you're jumping back in and you have a certain fear, you're not alone. Let's talk about it. All right, beautiful people, welcome back. So today we're talking about that fear nobody talks about when you're returning to sport after a time away or a break or who knows, injury, whatever. There's a conversation that happens almost at every drop zone, but rarely it's talked about out loud. So picture this. Skydiver walks in after weeks or even a month away from the sport. You smile, catch up with the friends, check the weather, checks their gear, starts putting the gear on, and the outside, everything looks normal, but truth is far from that. And the inside, basically what's going on is, why am I so nervous? Or even worse, do I even like skydiving anymore? I've seen a lot of people, go through these emotions, let's say, when they're either having a break from sport or coming back from an injury or an accident or something relating an aircraft or what have you. So if you have those thoughts, you're not alone. In fact, I would argue that nearly every experienced skydiver has had these thoughts or emotion at some point in their lives. The difference is that most don't talk about it because there's an unspoken expectation that experience should eliminate fear, and that is not true. Fear doesn't disappear. It just changes, okay? So when you're a student, our fear is obvious because we've never done this before. We don't know what to expect. We're learning a new skill, and let's be honest, we're jumping out of a plane, which we're not designed to do. So fear is present at all times. We're afraid of leaving the plane. We're afraid of making mistakes. We're afraid of the unknown. And as we gain experience, those fears evolve in a way. They become comfortable, free fall and canopy flight, but also what we gain out of all of this is perspective. We understand risks better, and we understand how to manage risk. We even see close calls at some point. We heard accident reports. We've watched friends get hurt or even worse. So the whole thing changes as we evolve and grow into the sport. And we also, end up knowing, and some don't, that skydiving deserves respect. Anybody that tells me that they don't respect the sport or that you notice that don't respect the sport, unfortunately, those are the ones that get hurt. It's ego, it's complacency, a whole bunch of factors. Ego being the biggest one. But yeah, we know that skydiving deserves respect once we learn all of these things. And after taking time away from the sport, all of those thoughts can become louder than the excitement at the first time that we, started skydiving. Or that what drew us to skydiving in the first place. And that, my friend, is not weakness, is part of being human. And sometimes you hear skydivers that, they explain that every time they went for a little too long of a break or without jumping, it became harder to come back again. Weather delays, busy schedules, simply not having anyone to jump with sometimes was slowly turning into self-doubt. And that's pretty common. Eventually they started, asking themselves whether they enjoyed skydiving anymore. People sometimes don't realize that the hardest part of skydiving isn't the exit, is deciding to manifest for the first load. And that sometimes can be a challenge, especially if you're going through all these feelings and thoughts in your head. So the longer we stay away, the more time in our minds we spend, unfortunately. And, we get a lot of time to imagine what could go wrong. And not long ago, I talked to a dear friend skydiver that kind of went through the same thing and found herself in pretty much the same situation. Instead of forcing herself to just making the next jump, she just found something that gave her purpose, or let's say a job or a task, let's say. Her attention went into it wasn't centered in her own nervousness. So she focused on flying video or video in tandems. So now she was focused on flying the camera, staying in position, avoiding the drogue, important, anticipating deployment, and helping create an unforgettable experience for that first-time jumper. And that is a great way to kind of move past that fear and find something that attracts you again to the skydiving. Watching the nervous students step out of the plane makes you remind yourself something important, that the courage isn't the absence of fear. It's choosing to move forward despite fear. So in a nutshell, purpose can quiet the fear. That doesn't mean that everybody should become a videographer or a tandem instructor or a coach or an instructor for that matter. The lesson is way more broader than that. Fear has a way of finding an empty space in your head, and purpose has a way of replacing it. So there you go. Therapy session today. And purpose could be many things. Improving canopy skills, working towards that new license or rating, learning a new discipline. Maybe you've been looking into, let's say, I don't know, free flying or accuracy or whatever. Coaching new jumpers, if you already have the jump numbers and you have a rating and you haven't pursued that, that might be something to, give you purpose. Flying camera, organizing safe and fun belly jumps, or simply making a conservative hop and pop to get current again. It doesn't matter. Find something that gives you purpose. One student one time told me he planned to spending the whole day doing nothing but hop and pops until it start to feel natural again. And that is a fantastic plan. Absolutely nothing wrong with easing your way back into the sport. And in fact, that is exactly what most experienced skydivers should do. Because once you get to a certain level in this sport, ego kicks in and complacency kicks in, and you, for some reason, find that you're fearless. And it's not that you're fearless. It's that you get better. Some get better. Some just, I don't know how they manage to survive. So confidence isn't something you wait for. Many jumpers tell themselves, I'll go back once they feel like they're ready. The problem is that confidence really shows up before action. It usually comes after one jump, one stable exit, one smooth landing. So let's normalize this conversation. Every successful skydive becomes another reminder that your skills are still there, and many may simply need just a little, dust knocked off of you. But yeah, let's normalize this conversation. I wish more experienced jumpers just talked about this, but usually ego gets in the way.
Ooh, that's a bingo.
We have the tendency to readily accept that the students will be nervous, and that's perfectly fine. But when somebody has hundreds or thousands of jumps, we somehow expect them to be immune to fear. And some of this can be, again, ego. You get your typical dumbass swooper that thinks he's invincible or indestructible, and next thing you know, turns low and pounds himself into the ground. So it's a little unpredictable, but the expectation is realistic. When somebody, some of the safest, most respected skydivers I know still get butterflies after time away, or every time. Personally, I don't like airplanes. Every time I'm on an airplane and I have to do a skydive, I'm anxious, and that's perfectly fine. I don't care. Once I'm outside the plane, things change. So, well, in a nutshell, respect for the sport is respect for yourself. If you've been away from skydiving for a while and you're feeling nervous, don't beat yourself up. Don't mistake temporary hesitation or falling out of love of the sport or any discipline that you do in life. And don't feel pressured to jump to be in the same level you were before you took a break. Take smaller jumps, smaller steps, review emergency procedures every single time, review your gear checks every single time, talk to your trusted instructor or friend, make a solo if that's what you need, do a hop and pop, take a coach, whatever helps you safely rebuild your confidence, it's the right approach. So because the goal isn't to improve that you're fearless. It's not to prove that. It's the goal is to become comfortable, current, and confident in yourself again.
People are neurotic. Yeah. They get neurotic because they have two different ways. They contradict themselves all the time.
So to close today's therapy session, skydiving has a funny way of reminding us and showing us who we are. Sometimes it just takes one jump to remember why we started.
If you like this video, please hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the bell to get our latest notifications. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.